I'll start out by this wall that encompasses from ceiling to floor and wraps around all the way through these columns of over 1,800 PlayStation 2 games, which consists of a complete North American collection for PlayStation 2. This wall, I also have a complete North American collection of PlayStation 3 games. Down here, I have a growing collection of Famicom games, which is the original Nintendo system that came out in Japan. And then here, wedged in the ceiling, I have over 1,000 PlayStation 1 games. Now around this column, and it wraps on both sides, I have a complete PSP collection for North America. And then on this wall, I have original Xbox and Xbox 360, and both of these collections wrap around the room, and I'll show you there in a second, but both of these are also complete North American collections. Here I have Xbox One games with over 500 Xbox One games so far amassed. Up here I have my PS Vita collection, which is a complete collection of everything released to date for North America, but this is still a growing collection. That system is still releasing titles. And then here you see PS4 games with over 900 PS4 games so far. Wedged in between all this, I have my Wii U collection, complete North American collection. And then up there, I have some 3DO games that I've collected so far. Here's the continuation of that Xbox collection and Xbox 360. Both again complete North American collections. They stack up everywhere. Here, I move into the Nintendo area. Complete Nintendo GameCube collection for North America. Complete Wii collection for North America. Now, here's some of the oddities I encounter when collecting and trying to come up with these complete collections. There are certain games that are only released in certain countries. Here's an example. FIFA 15 was only released in Mexico, but it is considered part of the North American collection, so I had to import this game. Down here I have my growing Nintendo Switch collection with over 180 games so far. And then decorating my walls, I have all these amiibos moving into this area. Here I have a TurboGrafx collection, which consists of half of the TurboGrafx games released to date. I'm still working on this collection. And then the rest of this area is dedicated to Japanese games, with portable original Game Boy and Game Boy Color games imported from Japan, and Game Boy Advance games as well. And all of these drawers are Super Famicom games, which is the equivalent of the Super Nintendo for Japan. Now here's some oddities that I really like in my collection. Here I have a complete collection of Nintendo 64 DD games. The Nintendo 64 DD was an expansion system that was released for Nintendo 64, and it was only released in Japan. Very hard item to find nowadays, definitely a collector's item. Now moving into this wall, this is my Sega area. I'll start out with these cartridges. These are my Game Gear games. I have a complete North American collection. And here's an oddity I really like. CJ the Elephant. This was a game that was released at the end of the life cycle of Game Gear. Extremely hard game to find nowadays. Here I have a complete Virtual Boy game set. Jack Bros. This is one of the most famous ones. Then in this row, I have a complete Dreamcast collection, complete Game Gear collection, complete Sega Genesis collection, which wraps all the way through there and continues through there, and I'll show that here in a minute. But the Genesis holds a special place in my heart. It was the first system I owned, and it was what got me addicted into this collection. The first game I ever owned was this one, Golden Axe. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Mom. I can't tell you how many times I've played this game over and over again, and it's definitely a classic. Has a warm spot in my heart. Now, continuing through this wall, I have a complete Atari Jaguar collection for North America, complete Sega 32 collection, Nintendo 3DS games, and here's an oddity. This is the rarest Nintendo 3DS game so far released. Barbie, Groom and Glam Pups. Atari Lynx games. And down here, I go into Sega CD with a complete North American collection of Sega CD. And then the Sega Saturn, also a complete collection that wraps all around. Both of those systems love Sega systems. I love all these games. Now, here's some other oddities in my collection. These two, Hotel Mario and Zelda Adventures, are some rare games that were released only on the Philips CDI system. And there are one of the few instances where Nintendo has allowed these games to be licensed outside of their systems. Now, continuing through here, I have some Japanese Saturn games and some Japanese Dreamcast games. And there you can see the continuation of all the remaining Dreamcast or Sega Genesis games. Now, I'm not done yet. Let me show you the last part, which is my cartridge collection. So coming through here is where I house all my cartridges. I'll start out with here. Here I have a complete collection of original Game Boy games for the North American market. Complete collection of Game Boy Advance games for North American market. And then on this wall, I have over 1,000 Nintendo DS games. These are some of the more rare components too. I have a complete Neo Geo Pocket collection for North America. On this wall, Sega Pico games, complete collection. Neo Geo games, this is still a growing collection. Here's another set of oddities that I like in my collection. These are PlayStation 1 games that were released for educational purposes and were distributed to high schools in the United States, where students could go and play games during school. Now, continuing through here, I'll start out with this side. Here I house a complete collection of Super Nintendo games for North America, and I get to show you my favorite game in the world, Castlevania 4. This is by far my most beloved game. I love this game. I think it's a masterpiece. Here's another oddity I like to share as well as part of my collection. This one is a Super Nintendo game that was released by Nintendo for the military, the US military. And you could not buy it in retail. It was a marksmanship practice game for the soldiers to practice shooting. Very rare in the world. Only a few copies are out there. And I'm happy to own one as part of my collection. Now, continuing through here, I have a complete collection of North America Nintendo system games. Over here, wedged in this corner, I have my Atari games. And then wrapping all around this area, I have crammed in this area all my systems and collector edition games. Overall, I have over 100 video game systems. That way I can play everything I own. And sometimes multiple of every system, depending on the collector value of those components. As an example, down there you'll see I have over 10 different Xbox 360 systems. And then to wrap up the last part of the collection, I get to show this wall over here. I have my Nintendo 64 games that continue from down there. And then I have Game Boy Color complete collection, N-Gage games, and then a bunch of different Atari generation games crammed in here. That's it. You've gotten to see my quick overview of my complete collection of 20,139 games. I'm really excited to be finally sharing this with the world. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. And I hope to see you and share more of this in the future again. Thank you again.